I'm Roger Sikowski from Webucator.com. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate one of the most underrated features in Python 3. I saw Yanel Marish's article about this truly notable feature on his blog, and he agreed to let us create this video to illustrate his example. His blog article can be read at the address shown below. So, on with the show. Let's focus on how Python 2 handles tracebacks. It can present a frustrating challenge when we deal with re-raised exceptions. For example, consider libraries where the various tasks raise different exceptions. Our implementation using these libraries should be able to unify the traceback, if only to help us during debugging. So let's experiment with how Python 2 might handle a re-raised exception. To demonstrate, we can use two examples of source code, one called foo, the other called bar. Let's look at foo first. I'll bring that up in my editor. Notice it raises eventually a foo exception. That's resulting from a call from D to E and then E in turn to F. Now, we can take a look at bar. Once again, we have a simple progression of function calls from A to C this time. It's in C that we accept the foo exception and re-raise a bar exception. Let's see what happens when we try to run this program in terms of our traceback. I'll run the application. If we look at the dump in that traceback, what we can see is that we are in fact solidly reporting on bar, but any report from foo is completely missing. Now we can fix this problem, and there's a few ways to do it. One is to just simply raise a bare exception, and that would in fact produce a report that would be more in keeping, but then it also would place all the responsibility for catching any other possible exceptions on the developer. We could create also a log entry for foo's exception. It's not a great fix, but at least it's something. A better way would be for us to re-raise the exception as a chain. And we can see that by using the code I have commented out here. Let me uncomment that line, and I'll comment this one. Now, let's try running this application again with the new line of code. And in this case, you'll notice toward the end that we do in fact now report back on the calls from foo. So we are in fact getting now a complete response. Unfortunately, this kind of thing isn't used very often. And as a result, Python 2 places most of the burden of exception handling on the developer. Now, as we'll see, Python 3 gives us another alternative, and we'll be looking at that in the very next example. In Python 3, the burden of a traceback awareness is now managed by Python itself, making the developer's life a lot easier. Let's put our code back to its original form when we started this. That means we can get rid of this line. We can uncomment the original line of code that caused our problem to begin with. And I can get rid of this import. We no longer need it. And now, let's run our code. In the output, and I'm going to make this screen a little larger, in the output, what we see is that we get not only bar's traceback, but we also are getting foo as well. As a result, we have a lot less work to do. That's pretty neat. Actually, that's really neat. I want to thank Yanel once again for the opportunity to present this video. Check out his blog at the URL shown here for other great articles. I hope this has been a help.